Welcome to another episode of the All Tens Podcast. I'm your co-host, Josh West, as always, here with Clay Harris. And Clay, we have finally reached the end of the rainbow on our series on the VTO, the 8th and final question. What are your issues? And if you're running a business, it's inevitable. You're going to have issues. Clay, when you're working with teams, talk to us about the issues list.
Josh, my teams don't have issues.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding.
Likely scoring.
I think this is the most undervalued part of a VTO. This is my, I've probably said this on other parts of the VTO, but I'll say it again because probably no one's listened to them back to back. They're not going to catch that. This is my favorite part of the VTO. Sorry to all the other parts of the VTO. I love you all. But here's why. VTO. The first 7 questions are all like, man, isn't this great? We're fucking we're awesome. Whatever, leave it. We're awesome. We're great. Look at our great values. Look at our focus. We're the best in the world at this. This is where we're headed, to the moon. Here's how we're going to do it, right? We're so unique, right? Here's what it's going to look like in 3 years. Here's the 1-year plan. Here's our rocks for the next 90 days. Rah, 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 rah. And we all know that person in our life who's like always happy and optimistic, and sometimes you just want to punch them in the face, right? Like, come on. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes things don't go as planned. It's just the way it works. So the issues list is the leadership team's ability to communicate to the rest of the company, like, hey, man, this is what we really want to have happen. We really believe that we're going to work our tails off to get this done. But there's some shit that might happen that will make it not. And that's on the issues list. So we're not just telling you the good news. We're telling you all the things that might get in the way. And I think that's the trick of like any good kind of authentic relationship, is that you're real, right? Like you kind of share the good news and the bad news, and you maintain the optimism. Like, we're gonna do it. There's gonna be some stuff that gets in the way. So I think there's just like this element of introducing authenticity into the conversation that the VTO sparks that really matters. And then the second thing, which I think is a little bit more zoomed out, is that as leaders, we're always dealing with all the issues, right? Like we see all the bad stuff, and it's really easy to feel like you're alone in that in a lot of ways. Like, man, I got all the, I'm telling these people we're going to do all this stuff on the VTO, and there's all these big issues. And so one, you got to share it. That's why it's on the VTO. But the second thing is that when you do that, you not only are enrolling the rest of the company in accomplishing the great things, you're enrolling the rest of the company in helping you solve the big issues just by sharing it. And so you're kind of releasing yourself from the burden of being the only one that has to worry about it. And you're getting them all to join you in not only the good stuff, but the hard stuff too. And I think that's really powerful.
Oh, Clay, it's like you're stealing it right out of my brain. Particularly, I want to go in on that internal part. It's lonely at the top. And being a business owner is not for weak spirits. This is tough. And, personal insight of it, my mind ruminates on things, man. And there is a therapy before we even talk about IDSing and having a way of truly identifying the root of those issues, etc. There is just a therapy in just getting them out of your head, one, for yourself internally, and also, I'll say, in a way, sharing that burden with others and saying, these are the issues. So now it's no longer in your head, in your heart, on your shoulders, persisting as a 2 a.m. thought of yours, but rather we've got it out on the list for everyone to see. Also, I'd say that you want to be a real transparent company, put a bunch of issues up there. This is not a company that's all rah-rah and sweeping things under the rug. No, we're very clear about what our issues are, and we're very clear about everyone even being able to see that and know that. And I think that really also starts that accountability of you're part of this team and you can help solve that. And so, I work with one client for me comes to mind in particular where, gosh, their heart is in the right place all the time. And a lot of times for them, I think that delegation or calling out issues, they see it as like, I'm I'm putting undue burden on others. And I try to help them and the team get to a place where, hey, we're all in this together. And I think the issues list is where that really comes to bear. And so there's a lot going on there, and I'm glad, Clay, that you said this is one of your favorite parts because yeah, there's a lot of other shiny things on that VTO, and this one's at the end. It's sort of like the redheaded stepchild of the VTO of like, oh, that's at the end. Okay, there's just going to be some issues on that list, whatever, right? I'm worried about the 1 year plan, but like, oh boy, is there a lot of value in that issues list.
Yeah, and not to like keep uh, not to make it woo woo or to take it out of the woo woo, right? Of like that unburdening thing, like it's lonely at the top. Yeah, those things are all true. But also, there is this thing when you publish the issues list that like you never know who on your team has a cousin, uncle, friend, neighbor who's like the key to unlocking that issue. And so like there's a real practical part of publishing that issue too, right? Like it's not just like you want some companionship from your coworkers or that you just want them to work on it, but you just never know. You just never know what happens when you just let people know that you need help. Because the solution to that issue might not be what you thought it was, but when you get 40 minds thinking about it instead of 2 or 3 or 4, however many people are on the leadership team, the world opens up in new ways that you might not have even known about. And I think that's pretty darn cool. Um, I think the other big value of the issues list, Joshy, is that it puts a place for some of that frenetic energy that sometimes dominates entrepreneurial companies to live, to not get lost, right? When we think about all the things that are happening in the business, one of the things we're trying to do in EOS is organize it a little bit so that we spend energy efficiently. And so we put like we put this 1 year goals into the 1 year plan. We've got what we're doing over the next 90 days. We've kind of come together as a team and said, here's how we're prioritizing our time over the next 90 days. What I was saying in our last episode around rocks is that like what I urge folks not to do is like leave this rock setting session and go back like a month later and be like, you know what we should do? Right. And so a lot of times before companies do EOS, it's like every 2 weeks, every 30 days, it's like new priority, right? Like whether it's a shiny object or important or whatever, like there's always something new to try. And what we're trying to do in EOS is like give them some rhythms around organizing their energy. And so this issues list on the VTO is also where things can go that are like great ideas, but they aren't a priority right now. We don't want to lose them, but we can't like distract ourselves from executing the plan that we've already set. And so we have this idea in EOS of, I mean, whatever. There's a word, it's called compartmentalizing, putting things in the right places. And we put the 1 year goals on the VTO under 1 year plan. We put the 90-day priorities on the rocks. In our L10, we're keeping track of the 1 to 2 week things as to-dos. And everything else, if it's not fitting in one of those buckets, everything else is an issue. And so now we're going to add another layer of complexity here. Is like the issues list on our VTO is our long-term issues. And anything that has to be resolved right away goes to your L10 issues list. And so this idea of compartmentalization, putting things where they go, is a way to help harness the ideas, not lose them, but put them in the right place and perspective based on like when they need to be addressed or talked about or accomplished. And I think that's also really powerful and has been impactful to my clients to help them kind of get out of chaos and into a little bit more organization. Does that make sense?
I'd like to add just one little nugget on the end of that and play into the word issues. I think immediately people think negative. Oh, it's an issue. And many times it is, right? Whether something is absolutely on fire or, maybe a step down from that and it's a challenge. But what can also be placed on the issues list are opportunities. So let's say right now your focus is, you've got 2 service lines and perhaps, an expansion to a third is an opportunity for you to capture more market share and grow the business, but maybe not right now. And so, as you said, we don't want to lose those things. Certainly, we don't want to lose track of the things that, are in the way of us accomplishing our goals as far as issues, but also opportunities. that just aren't right now also belong on your issues list. What about you, Clay?
I'm laughing at the business that I've ran for forever. We actually renamed the issues list in the Elton to the issues/opportunities just to like drive that home, because it's easy to make that issues list like all negative, but like 100% there's like things you want to capitalize on too, and that those should show up on the list because you want to identify, discuss, and solve them, just like the positive stuff, just like you would the negative. The example that I always use there is like, hey, we got this one client that gave us 8 compliments last week. That's a headline maybe. And, I think most of my clients aren't putting that on the issues list. They're just like, hooray. But there is a world where you put that on the issues list and you solve how to get more of those, right? And that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, sweet.
Exactly.
That's a good
And for our listeners, we didn't plan that.
No, we didn't plan that at all. We were just, yeah. Anyway, well, cool. Well, this is a good episode, and it wraps up the VTO. Hopefully you've listened to all 8 episodes and you have a really profound understanding of the VTO. And if you've done that and you bump into any issues, me and Josh are here to help. Also, 100%. We're going to keep recording podcasts, and we need some more ideas. So if you have any great ideas on what you want to hear about, please let us know. You can do that by commenting, sending us an email, checking us out on LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to find us. But as always, please rate, listen to, share, whatever it is you do with podcasts with your friends, family, coworkers, cousins, neighbors, grocery store checkout people. And we'd love to talk to more people. So thanks for listening. You did a great job, Josh. I'm so happy to be doing podcasting with you. Good job on the VTO.
Oh, Clay, right back at you.
All
Such
right.
a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to more podcasting in the future.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Good job, Jesse.
See you, Clay. Bye.